Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Stacey Hanlon. Okay, so today we're going to be talking all about loving yourself, which is such an important topic. For so long, me personally, I didn't love myself. I didn't even know who I was. Man, that was a journey. I will definitely tell you, and it's one that is so well worth it. So this is just going to be a little bite-sized piece of the aspect of it. But today we are going to be talking about embracing your imperfections as part of your story. We're going to be talking how to cultivate compassion and self-kindness. And then we're going to be talking about prioritizing your needs as well as your well being, right? So, those are all very important elements on this journey. Okay, so let's dive right in. So, many of us have been taught to view our own flaws, our mistakes, and our imperfections as something to hide from, as well as to be or to feel ashamed by them, right? But the truth is, our imperfections are what make us human. It makes us relatable. It makes us authentically you, right? So, what does it mean to love yourself? Sorry, I just got a message and it distracted me, so I'm just trying to. Sorry. So, learning to love yourself means accepting all parts of who you are as a person, right? It's the it's the dark and the light. It's the light and the shadow, right? It's the two different sides of you that make you authentically you, right? So instead of trying to fix your quote unquote perceived flaws, I want you to embrace them. I want you to look at them as not a flaw. I want you to look at them and see the deep beauty within that they really and truly are, right? Your imperfections are part of what makes it you, right? They are part of your own personal journey, right? They can also be your greatest strengths, right? It's knowing that, it's recognizing that, and it's coming to understand that they are your strengths. They are your superpowers. It's what makes you you. Um, I believe it's a Dr. Seuss quote that just popped in my head, right? There's nobody more youer than you. And I mean, it's a fabulous saying or quote, right? It's absolutely fabulous, right? Because it's true. There's nobody out there that's going to be more you than you. And that makes you unique, right? We are all unique. Okay, so next time you catch yourself thinking about something negative about yourself, I want you to do something that it's one of my most favorite things ever to do. I get so emotional when I talk about this because I love it. It's life changing. I want you to reframe it. I want you to ask yourself, okay, so how can this imperfection um, be a source of growth for me? Or how can I have more compassion for myself or others because of this, right? So I want you to give yourself permission to be imperfect, to be perfectly you, right? Because that's what it's all about. Okay, let's jump into number two, which is cultivate compassion and self kindness. Okay, so often we can be our hardest critics. We can be so hard on ourselves, right? We're judgy. Um, we feel that we're not enough. We don't like our appearance. Maybe it's your career, your relationships, your emotional well being. It could be so many different aspects of your life, right? But true self love, it comes from offering ourselves the same compassion we give a close friend. Think about that for a moment, right? Ah, yes. Compassion that you would give a close friend. Um, a story that I often think of is Picture a woman at a restaurant. She's going out on a blind date. She had gone out and purchased a new dress. She looks absolutely stunning. She feels amazing, right? You can tell it's the confidence in her, right? She feels like she's next level, right? And comes her date, sits down. They have conversation. They order some dinner. Then all of a sudden, he just actually even before that happens, she's like, oh, inside the head thoughts, oh my gosh, this guy, he's so perfect. He's my soulmate. I want to spend the rest of my life with this guy. But here's the thing, all of a sudden, her date gets up and says, I'm sorry, this is not working, turns around, walks out. So she's left there in the restaurant, tears streaming down her face. She gets on the phone, she calls a friend, right? And she's like, I'm such a loser. Um, he hates me. He hated the way I looked, right? Like all those self-pity thoughts, right? They're coming, they're flowing, they're just spewing out of you, right? Like you're just all this negative energy, and you're just so hurt. And you're just saying, like, I'm a horrible person, I'm not lovable, I am not enough, I'm like all those things, right, that go through our heads in that moment, right? It's just coming out. I'm like so unlovable. But here's the thing. That phone call never actually happened. What actually happened was that was her inner dialogue inside her head about herself, right? Because when we talk to ourselves inside our head, we are so hard. We're much harder than, say, for instance, I'm sitting across the table from my friend and she's telling me the story about how she just went on this date, right? Like, but Jen, it shouldn't feel that way. You are an amazing person. You are so worth being in a relationship with somebody. You are so lovable. You're so kind. You're so fun. People love being around you, right? That's the kind of conversation that you're going to have with another person, right? Or any good friend, because if that friend's like, oh, you're a horrible person, right? Like chances are pretty good that you're not going to be friends with that person because they're not kind to you, right? You only want to be around people who are kind. So think about that for a moment, right? Why are you around yourself if you're not kind to you? Open that door, right? Be kind. Be kinder to you. I love sharing that story. It's so true. But we all know that self-love isn't about perfection. It's about being kind to yourself, right? Especially during those hard times, right? It's about speaking to yourself with care, with patience, instead of with self-criticism, right? Or even harshly judging yourself, right? So a way to do that is to practice self-compassion every single day, right? Because once you're aware of your negative thoughts, you can start to reframe those to change your inner thought dialogue, right? So, for instance, when that guy left, right, reframing that, saying something like, he wasn't the right guy for me. He's not my soulmate. I will find somebody who has X, Y, and Z, and he will love me, and he'll want to be with me, and he will empower me, and he will lift me up, and I will become a better version of myself, right? That is what you want to portray, to give out, to send out to the universe, to be able to become your next best self. right? To be able to say things in a different capacity, to want or to have those desires, right, into your life, right? Having it coming forward to you, right? So I want you to start practicing that self compassion daily. And yes, you will slip up, and that is perfectly okay. You are human. We all make mistakes, right? So just knowing in those moments to be kind to yourself. Speak to yourself gently. Speak to yourself like you would your best friend, right? When they're going through a hard time, right? That's how you should be talking to yourself. And just remember that you are doing the best that you can and that you are enough and that you deserve the kindness that you give to others. It's knowing and it's understanding that. Okay. All right. So, um, the next one is prioritizing your needs as well as your well being. Okay. So, loving yourself means putting yourself first without guilt, without hesitation. And it's so easy to get lost in taking care of others and being constantly so busy, right? Because we get absorbed into our own lives and the day to day things that sometimes we don't have time for other things. But learning to love yourself, prioritizing it, it is important. You are worthy of this, right? But it's making sure that you're doing it on the emotional, the physical, as well as the mental well being, right? All those different levels, right? You need to be able um, to have the whole realm basically, right? So it's also knowing that loving yourself wholeheartedly, it is not selfish. It is necessary for you, for your well-being, right? It's all about taking care of yourself, right? And you're going to be better able to show up for others, right? And to be able to have a more fulfilling life in general, right? By implementing those boundaries and setting aside time for self-care, learning how to say no when something doesn't serve you or even your own well-being, that's that is personal success. That is true loving yourself. It is being able to elevate yourself to be able to become your next best self, right? So it's starting small, right? Do small bite-sized changes, right? And I want you to set up some time each day to do something for you, something that nourishes you, something that makes you happy, right? I mean, that could be it could be reading, could be going for a walk, it could be exercising, it could be just sitting quietly in silence, right? Because just remember that you are important. Your needs are important, right? This is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not somewhere where there's like point A to point B. There's there's no definition. It is a continuous, like actually I just thought of a picture. So it's pictures of entrepreneurs' brains, right? And it's not like a linear line from point A to point B. It's like right, like it's all zigzagged and curvy corners and right, like the whole bit, right? It's knowing that you need to do this for you, right? That you matter. And it's staying committed to this journey, right? And it's a process. It's a long, hard process, one that is so very well worth it. Thank you so much for joining me today and for talking to me about self love or loving yourself.